Hey everybody, I want to welcome you to the August Plane Talk. And again, I want to thank you for being part of Gray's Golf. And we're outside at our beautiful facility here in Edmond, Oklahoma. And today's going to be a little bit different. We did a Q&A session where we had we asked you guys to submit a bunch of questions, and we got literally, Chris told me hundreds of questions that came in. He actually said thousands, but I'm gonna say hundreds. But we literally had probably 1,000 questions that came in. And a lot of the questions actually related to being on the golf course, different things on the golf course. So what I'm gonna do today is I'm gonna give you a couple announcements first, and then we're gonna get on the golf course. I'm gonna walk you from the first tee through different shots on the golf course and give you kind of tricks of the trade. Things that we see that are common issues with when I do have pro-ams, I'm playing with a bunch of amateur players, or when I do our schools and so on, things that will definitely help your game on the golf course. So I'm gonna walk you from the tee to hitting out of the rough, to some shots in the fairway, to some bunker shots, to even practicing on the green and so on. So I think you'll enjoy this. So we're gonna go over some different tricks of the trade and that will really help you on the golf course and answer a lot of those questions, okay? But first, before we get into that, I wanna do a couple announcements first. And first one, like normal, is I wanna do a school announcement. Guys, we have a very active fall schedule. We got schools in Oklahoma City for the next month or two. Then we go to Phoenix and Orlando, okay? And they will start to fill up here very soon. In fact, by the middle of August, the end of August, we start seeing a huge peak in school signups again. You can still get in at great rates. We still have 3-day schools, 5-day camps, short game schools, even a trifecta school on the schedule, okay? A trifecta school is our scoring school, the one that combines the mental game school, the short game school, and the on-course instruction school, okay? It's an unbelievable school. But we have every school that you can imagine on there. I would strongly suggest getting in on the good rates right now, getting in early, and getting in before these sell out. We just had a school a week ago that we had 20 people on the waiting list for that school. Okay, and we don't want you to miss the opportunity. So we have schools in Orlando, Phoenix, and Oklahoma City. We have them through the end of the year. Now the question we're getting is about the spring schedule. That spring schedule is not going to be released. The February, March, April schedule is not going to be released till literally probably the end of September, middle of October. That's typically when we release that schedule, okay? So right now, if you can get in the fall, and the question I get all the time is, well, my golf season's ending. Folks, I can't stress enough, and those that have been to schools understand this. When you come to a school, we're going to give you a ton of things to work on. It takes time working on those to get comfortable with those before you go out on the golf course. So to come in the fall and to do schools and give yourself the fall and the winter and the spring or whatever it is to work on these things is amazing. And it gives you tons of time. And it's not like it's a cram session for you. So in their beautiful schools, we get beautiful weather, beautiful facilities. But if you can make a school come in, you can call us at 405-250-6960. Or you can go online and see us there. Or you can always email me at timg@graysgolf.com, and we'll get you the information you need, okay? But schools are going to sell out. They're going to sell out fast. Let's get into those. Second announcement I want to do tonight, and really probably the last announcement about clubs, is a pretty big announcement on this. I want to talk about this for a few seconds here, and I got some stuff in front of me to remind me what to talk about with you. First things first is we just found this out. We just found it out. The double trade-in bonus has come back, okay? We had it was about a month ago. We had it, it's starting up again. So if you want to buy any Odyssey, any Callaway, Quantum product, Odyssey product, it could be a mini driver, it could be a wedge, it could be irons, it could be whatever it is. If you want to trade in clubs to it, we can get you double bonus again for it, okay? We can work with you, we get double bonus again. So we just found that out. I mean, literally hours ago, we found that out. Second thing, Odyssey putters. They've gone up to $100 off the putters. Okay, so if you're looking at a new Odyssey, it could be a square-to-square putter, it could be a dual force putter, it could be an AI dual putter. If you're looking for Odyssey putters, we have them, they're $100 off right now. The putters have gone on sale. So if you're looking for a great putter, you're looking for one that's fit for you for length, loft, grip size, and so on, I can get you a putter, and you can do the trade-in bonus to that too if you'd like, okay? Wedges. Guys, I hope you know about this. We had the Opus SP Signature wedges. These are a specialized wedge that we have made up with Callaway that has optimal spin, optimal feel. It's the top rated wedge, and we got most signature on there. Guys, we have those on sale right now. They're up to $50 off per wedge, okay? They are selling out. I wanted to bring that up because we have limited supplies in this. They're selling out and we're selling through them, okay? This is the time of year we sell through them. Now, I will admit, a new wedge will be released probably in 2, 3, 4 months, okay? It'll be back up to $230, $240 for that wedge. This one right now, you can get as low as $179 a wedge, okay? If you're interested in these, need to be fit also. Length, angle, shaft flex, grip size. We need to work on that for you guys. This is the scoring part of your bag, okay? Now, last thing on the clubs I'm gonna talk about. And if you saw the newsletter I just put out, you saw it. You may be getting some advertisements from Callaway already. It's called the Mini Spinner. The Mini Spinner Callaway is releasing in the middle of this month. We're taking orders right now. What is the Mini Spinner? The Mini Spinner is a club that is basically a club between the hybrid and the fairway wood. It looks like a fairway wood and has hybrid characteristics. So, because here's what it comes down to. When you hit a hybrid, it stops relatively fast in a green compared to a fairway wood. When you hit a fairway wood into the green, it tends to roll, it tends to bounce and roll out. So people always come and they always say, hey, I'd love to have that ease of hitting with those fairway woods because like the easiest club in the bag to hit, but they don't stop. What Callaway produced is what they created was called the spinner. And it's called it's the Quantum Mini Spinner. The Quantum Mini Spinner. And basically what it is it's a mesh between the hybrid and the fairway wood. It has fairway wood characteristics with stopping power of the hybrids. Okay, and that's what they're called. It's available in a 7 spinner, a 9 spinner, and 11 spinner. I don't even want to call them woods. I don't want to say 7 wood, 9 wood, 11 wood. It's called a mini spinner, and it's basically a fairway wood ease of hitting with hybrid characteristics. Callaway's never done anything like this. No company's ever done anything like this. They're throwing it out right now. Okay, I have more information on it in my newsletters and so on. If you're interested in that, we have introductory offers for those right now. We have special price in those right now. I will get it fit for you for length, shaft flex, lie angle, grip size. I'll get the whole thing fit for you. I'll get you introductory pricing and you can use the double trade-in bonus for that also. So if you want to try one and trade in a fairway wood or trade in a hybrid or trade in some other clubs for it, you're welcome to do that. It's called the Quantum Mini Spinner. They're going to start sending in the middle of this month. They're going to send them out. It's been released. It's going to start shipping in the middle of this month. We're taking pre-orders for them right now. First in, first out in those pre-orders, okay? So guys, I hit one. I tried it. It was probably one of the easiest clubs I ever had to hit. It went up fast in the air and it stopped fast. You'll see things online. It's all over online right now. Whether you go to YouTube, go to the Callaway site, you'll see them. They're talking a lot about this club. All right. So guys, between the clubs and between the schools, that's really the announcements for tonight. We do have a winner of the wedge. I'm going to announce that. I'm not going to announce it right now because I'm shooting this webinar a little bit early so I can get outside in the sunlight. So those that register before the webinar, I want to be fair to you guys. So at the end of the webinar, you'll see it pop up and I want to congratulate that winner before we get there. So congratulations on winning that wedge. And yes, that wedge will be fit to you perfect. But guys, again, if you have any school questions, you have any clubs questions, you want some fit questions, you want to make sure that you're fit properly for the single plane swing, you can always email me at timg@graysgolf.com and I'll either answer those questions or give them to the right people, okay? So now what we're going to do is we're going to get out on the golf course, we're going to go have some fun out there, and we're going to go work on different shots throughout the golf course. And I promise you, these are kind of tricks of the trade, things that we're seeing, common errors or common faults we see with typical golfers that will really help your game, and I promise you, improve that scoring. So guys, I'll meet you on the first tee. First of all, I want to thank you guys for all the questions you guys submitted. I was told there was over 1,000 questions that were submitted online when we put the registration down. That's amazing. I mean, that's just absolutely amazing. But here's what it came down to is a lot of the questions related to things on the golf course, related to shots on the golf course, related to ways you play on the golf course. So I thought this was a really good time to sit here and basically pretend we're in a pro-am together. You know, I used to play in 25 to 30 pro-ams a year when I was playing the mini tours and the tour. Now I probably play in 5 to 10 a year. You know, as a PGA professional and the section member, they'll call me up and say, hey, can you come play in this pro-am, or can you play in this charity event, or can you come play in this? So I'll tee it up with 4 or 5 amateurs, you know, A, B, C, D players, and we'll go out and we'll play around the golf. And I see common mistakes that are made. I see those mistakes with the amateurs I'm playing with. I see those mistakes when we have our on-course instruction school. I see those same mistakes made with our students that are in those schools, and just kind of general mistakes. So what I was going to do today is I'm going to walk through a bunch of different situations, a bunch of different times you're on the golf course, a bunch of different positions on the golf course. I guess that's the best way to put it. And talk to you about mistakes I commonly see that hopefully will help you. So you can call these tricks of the trade. You can call these little tidbits that can help you, little, whatever you want to call it. We're going to walk through those today. So, and I'm going to start in the tee and we're going to work all the way up towards the green, okay? And just some different scenarios and recommendations I want to give you to make sure you're doing things right or that can help you, okay? It's funny because one of the questions we got, and this is how simple some of the questions are, but how good some of the questions are, is do I wear a glove or do we wear a glove when we play golf? Because I know you guys have seen a lot of videos with Mo, and typically Mo wasn't wearing a glove. And I'm going to give you a suggestion right now. Yes, I would suggest wearing a glove. The reason is because when you start to sweat, especially this time of year when it's getting really hot out, when you start to sweat, it helps you grip the club a little bit easier. And when you grip the club a little bit easier, you won't grip it as tight, and you'll free up the arms and free up the swing. We asked Mo one time in a demo. There was a gentleman that was kind of giving Mo a hard time and giving us a hard time in a demo with Mo. And we asked Mo, why don't you wear a glove? And Mo goes, couldn't afford one, never wore one, couldn't afford one. Well, you guys, I assume you guys can afford a glove. I suggest wearing a glove. I know that's really simple, but it's one of the most common questions that we get is, do you suggest wearing a glove? Because you don't see Mo wearing one a lot. Yes, wear a glove, okay? Now, let's talk about on the golf course. Let's talk about, we're starting the tee box back. And again, I'm going to talk about some of the things that I would suggest you guys do when you get in the golf course to help your game. Here's number one, and this is a typical mistake we see. When you walk onto the first tee, so I'm on the first tee of the golf course right now. When you walk on the first tee, hopefully you come off the range and you've hit a few shots in the range, okay? And right now you should know your shot pattern. And what I mean by that is you should know, am I slicing the ball? Am I hooking the ball? Am I hitting it relatively straight? And because guys, you kind of got what you got. You know, they always say play with what you got, work on it after, okay? But you're going to play with what you got. So if you know your shot pattern out here, when you get out here, you can use that to your advantage. And let me tell you what I mean by that. Let's say right now I'm on a relatively calm day, okay? I'm on the first tee, I'm hitting a slice, okay? Well, if I'm hitting a slice or I'm cutting the ball, okay? For a right-handed golfer, I'm going to want to get on the right side of the box. So I'm going to want to come up here, I'm going to want to tee up towards the right-hand side of the box. Why is that? Because that gives me more fairway to cover when I'm hitting a slice. The worst thing I can do is line up in the middle or line up on the left-hand side, line up in the middle of the fairway, and then slice into the right stuff. So I want to go, if I'm hitting a slice, I want to go towards the right side of the box, okay? And I want to be able to now line up towards the left side of the fairway or however big my slice is and try to slice it back into the fairway, okay? So I get more fairway to cover with this slice. Vice versa, if I'm hitting a hook, I want to go on the left side of the box, okay? I want to go on the left side of the box and play that, I want to play my hook that shot pattern for the day. So I want to sit here on this side of the box, I want to lap on the right side of the fairway, and I want to try to play that hook that comes back into the fairway. Just think of it this way. It'll cover the fairway going off and it'll work its way back into the fairway. If you tee it up in the middle of the box every time, lap in the center, and you hit your slice, your hook, you're working off of the fairway. So slices go to the right side of the box, hooks go to the left side of the box. Now, let's say you say, well, Tim, I've been trained to hit it relatively straight. Great. And you say you hit it relatively straight. Great. Now we play the wind. So let's say we have a right to left wind. Let's say the wind's blowing across us. I'm always going to go to the left side of the box. Okay, because that's going to give me time for the ball to move with the wind and work more towards the fairway. Vice versa, let's say I have a left to right wind. Let's say it's going to cross my back. I'm going to go to the opposite side of the box. I'm going to work from that side of the box, let the wind work across the fairway. Okay, that's one of the big mistakes I see. Typical average golfers is teed up right in the middle and go for it. Guys, use your shot pattern or allow for the use of the wind, okay? Use the shot pattern you have. You said, that's what I got today. Guys, if you're slicing it really hard, you don't like it, but you got to play it, say that's fine. Go work on that afterwards. But understand, I'm probably going to have a slice today. That's what I hit on the range this morning. Now let's just pick the appropriate side of the box, okay? Next, let's talk about tee height. And this is a big mistake we see. When you tee up a ball on the tee, over a half of the ball should be above the top of the crown. Now this is just for a typical average day, minimal to no wind, half of the ball above the top of the crown, okay? So when I tee up the ball, okay, I'm gonna set up, I'm gonna tee it up, okay? And half of the ball should be above the top of the crown, okay, at least half. That lets us swing up on the driver and hit the driver in the top half of the driver. That's the hot spot of a driver, and I need everybody to understand this. The hot spot, the furthest you'll hit the driver is if you hit in the upper quadrant of the driver. So if you look at the drivers, and you can look at most modern new drivers now, especially like the Quantum, you'll see there's some grooves in the face. You want, and they say there's the grooves, but they're just marks in the face. You want to be at the top mark or above the top mark. That's where you want to make impact with this driver, okay? Most golfers tee the ball up too low, okay? And that gives me my next point here. I need the ball at least half foot above the top of the driver. Now, if you're swinging downwind and you want to hit it a little bit higher, maybe you got to hit over a tree in the corner or whatever it is, sure, we can tee it up a little bit higher. So now we can get a little bit more of that driver above the crown, top of the crown. Okay, so we can get a little bit more above the leading edge or above the leading edge. Now, let's say we're going into the wind. We can tee it down a little bit to keep the ball down, but notice, as I tee this ball down, I've still got that ball a little bit above the top of the leading edge of the driver towards that crown. It's still relatively high. Because if I start catching this ball on the bottom of that club, I'm going to hit it too low and I'm going to lose significant distance, okay? So on average, and this is a majority of the time, when you tee up a ball, I want the ball teed up and I want at least half it above the leading edge of the driver, or you can say above the crown of the driver, at least half it. That'll allow you to swing up and catch the hot spot of this driver and get maximum distance, okay? Last thing on the tee box. I know we're going over a lot of this, but I wanted to give you guys, it's interesting. These are like, I'm losing distance in the driver. How can you help me get more distance? There's all these questions we get in, and when you compile them, it's really on the course playing questions. So I want to just bring them out like I talked about here. Here's the last one, and this is the big one we see. A majority of golfers hit the ball way too low and they lose distance because they hit it too low, okay? When I watch Pro-Ams, when I'm watching the guys I'm playing with in the Pro-Am, when I bring out our students in the on-course management schools, I watch these balls fire off way too low. Guys, speed does not dictate height. Tee height and swinging up on the ball dictates height. You should be launching your golf ball, and if you look at this is using the horizon as an estimate. You should be launched at 20 to 25 degrees according to the horizon. This is the way to look at it. So if you put your arm straight up, that's 90 degrees. Now cut that in half, okay? That's about 45 degrees. Now cut that in half again, that's about 20 to 25 degrees. Point at that in the distance. So right now I can look up and I can look when I got some trees in the background, it's way above the trees. So in fact, it'd be like twice as high as those trees in the background. That's the height I need to be hitting my driver. If I hit it lower than that, unless it's really windy out and I'm into the wind, I'm going to lose significant distance because that gives me then maximum fly and maximum roll. When you look in the horizon, it's a 20 to 25 degree launch off the driver, okay? So you guys can do this. You can just think about it. If you go straight up, that's 90 degrees. You go cut that in half. Okay, that's 45 degrees. Guys, think about it. Cut that in half, that's 45 degrees. Cut that another half, that's about 20 to 25 degrees. Point at that in the distance. That right there is that's the peak of my driver. And I'll tell you guys right now, and if you don't understand that, I'm gonna tell you right now, just experiment. Next time you go out on the golf course or even on the range, actively or physically try to hit your driver higher. Try to launch it higher and see what happens with distance. Because I'll tell you right now, a majority of golfers I play with in Pro-Ams, a majority of my students, a majority of the people we see, they launch it too low. And when they launch it too low, you're losing the flight of the ball. It may roll a little bit, but you're losing that 10, 20, 30 yards of ball flight, and you're gonna lose significant distance, okay? So, guys, this is what I want to do here. And we're going to walk through some more scenarios today throughout the golf course. But I just want to talk about the kind of tricks of the trade and just answering a lot of your questions. So again, let's review that really quick here. Number one is tee. On what side of the tee do you tee it on? Pick the side that works for your shot pattern. If you slice the ball, go to the right-hand side of the box. If you hook the ball, go to the left-hand side of the box. If you hit it, and then obviously you're going to play the wind, okay? If you got crosswinds, a big crosswind, we're going to also do the same thing. Let's say you have a right to left crosswind. We're going to go to the left side of the box. We got a left to right crosswind. We're going to go to the right side of the box. Okay? Use it so it covers the majority of the fairway. Okay? Think about it. So right now, if I have a fairway in front of me, I hit a slice. I'm going to slice across the fairway, go left-hand slice, left-hand side, and slice it into the middle. If I hit that down the middle or the opposite, or I go the wrong angle, I'm slicing away from the fairway. So what will cover that fairway the most? That's the key. Okay, that's the first thing. Second of all is tee height. Most people tee the ball too low, especially with these big new modern drivers. They've been out for quite a few years. We've got to get at least half that ball above the crown, the top leading edge, or towards the crown of that driver. When you make impact to that driver, you want to get the upper half of the driver. That upper half of the driver is the hot spot of that driver, okay? So we got to do that. Now, if it gets really windy, I'm talking really windy in your face, you can tee a little bit lower, but not much lower, okay? Last thing is, and this is a big one, tee height, or height of the drive. Most amateurs, most average golfers hit the ball too low. Work on getting a little bit more height than that. If you look at the horizon, we want 20 to 25 degrees into the horizon for launch angle. That'll maximize your flight and your roll. That'll give you optimal flight, optimal roll. Okay, guys? So work on that off the tee. Work on those, guys. A lot of the stuff you can practice on the range. Pretend you're sitting on the range and pretend you're sitting in the tee box. Pick a couple targets in the range. Try to hit in between them and really work on these, and that'll help you when you get in the golf course. Guys, let's go to the next spot in the golf course, work through a couple more scenarios. All right, in this next segment, I want to talk about for a couple minutes here about hitting some longer shots out of some rough. And we got a lot of questions on this, about how to approach a shot out of the rough. But I have 3 different balls here. Hopefully you can see these 3 golf balls in the camera. I'll describe them. I have one ball here that's pretty deep down in the rough. I got one that's kind of halfway in the rough and one that's kind of sitting on the top of the rough, okay? And right now, let's just pretend we have a relatively long shot into the green. This is over 150 yards or longer for most of you guys into the green, okay? This is a relatively long shot. So first things first, when you have a ball that sits down in the rough, okay, and sitting at the bottom of the rough, and it's thick rough, like in fact you see on the camera here, you probably can't even really see that golf ball sitting so deep in the rough. So scenario number 1 is, remember, when you get over top of the shots, the lie is going to dictate the shot. Okay, even if I have 150 yards into this green, 200 yards into this green, if that ball's sitting down at the bottom of the rough like this, and this is really thick rough, I basically just got to hack it out of the rough and get it back into play. Because if I try to take a club with not enough loft, it's going to catch in that grass, it's not going to go anywhere. So when a ball's sitting down the bottom of the rough, you got to basically, I'm not going to say take your punishment. You hit a great drive and rolled in the rough by a couple inches, but you got to be smart and play some smart golf. So in that type, we're going to get a very lofted club, maybe a sand wedge, a gap wedge, maybe a pitching wedge, depending on how deep the rough is. And we're just going to literally get the ball and get it back out into play, okay? And I think most of you guys probably know that. We're going to get it back into play, and we're going to try to get it back in the fairway and go from there. That's just part of the way golf is, and ball sitting down in the rough. Now I have 2 other balls here, and they may look similar, but they're not. I have one that's sitting down in the grass a little bit, okay, but it's above the rough. It's not sitting down in the bottom of the rough like the other one was. This ball right here, being that it's in the middle of the grass, I can basically put pretty much any club I wanted on that. I could put a fairway wood, I could put a hybrid on that. Now, I wouldn't suggest like a 5 wood or a 4 hybrid or maybe like a 3 hybrid, because it's still sitting down in grass and it might catch that grass in the front. So a 7 wood, a 5 hybrid, a 6 hybrid, you'll have no problem getting out of there. In fact, I'll take a lofted fairway wood here, okay? I'll sit up over that and I'll play it out of the rough, okay? No problem at all, okay? It shot it out of the rough, no big deal, it went very well. Now, let's talk about this last scenario here. And this is a ball that's sitting basically on the top of the rough. So it's sitting really high. We kind of got some rough that's pretty thick and it's sitting up on the top of it. The one thing you want to be careful with on that is if you get a very lofted fairway wood, they tend to be a little bit thinner, okay? Lofted like a 7 woods, 9 woods, 11 woods, they tend to be thinner. And it's very easy to hit underneath this and catch the crown or above the crown and just pop this ball straight up. So when that ball sits on the top of the grass, okay, and you have a choice between a fairway wood and or a hybrid, I would most of the time on those take a hybrid. And the reason is because the hybrids tend to be a little bit thicker on the crown or a little bit thicker on the face, okay? So from the heel to the crown, they tend to be a little bit thicker. And they're a little bit thinner sole, so they'll cut through this rough a little bit better, okay? So when you get in a ball sitting on the top of the rough or sitting towards the top, and you have a choice between hitting a fairway wood and or hybrid, I would tend to go towards the hybrid. Number 1, hybrids cut through the grass a little bit easier, okay, in this thick grass. And number 2, they tend to be a little bit wider face, so they're a little bit more forgiving when you hit that golf ball. So I'm going to sit up over this right now, and I'm going to hit a hybrid out of there. Just like that. Okay? That was a really good shot. So when you guys, the thing to look at when it's in the rough, number one, the lie dictates the shot. If the ball sits down in the rough, it's really deep, don't be a hero. Get it back in that fairway, try to hack it back out there and get up and down from 50 yards, 75 yards, maybe 100 yards. Try to get up and down from there and save your par, okay? If you don't, we just top it out of the rough or it goes a couple of feet, it's gonna cost us some shots. That's number one. Number two is, if the ball's sitting in the middle, so it's kind of halfway in the grass, halfway above, you can go hybrid and fairway wood. You can do either, okay? You saw I hit a fairway out there, I did it really well. Good job on that. If it's sitting really high in the rough, so it's sitting on the top of that rough, we got some really thick rough and it's sitting on the top of it, be careful when you hit those very lofted fairway woods. It's very common, I see this all the time, when that fairway wood goes underneath it, you just pop that ball straight up. Tend to go more towards a hybrid or even an iron in those. It gives you a little bit more forgiveness in that face, and it gives you more forgiveness. You start cutting through that grass because there's more room for air on that face of that club. Okay, guys, so remember, lie dictates the shot. Let the lie that dictate the shot. Practice those often. I promise you, save you a few shots. Let's go to our next shot. All right, I want to talk to you guys for a couple seconds here about what I believe is probably one of the most important things that I see when I go out and play in my pro-ams with my amateur partners or even play with actually some good players that do this. I want to talk about this. And basically you can call this club up until you get there, okay? And I'm going to tell you what I mean, or however you want to describe this. I'll tell you what I mean by that. Okay, here's what I want you to do. Next time you go play a round of golf, okay, and you guys go and you especially early in the round, and you're playing that round of golf, and let's say, like for example, I have a 140-yard shot into the green right here, okay? And for me, normally, it's an 8-iron. I'd hit an 8-iron that distance, okay? But I'm early in the round. Maybe I warmed up appropriately, maybe I didn't. But here's what happens. When I watch typical golfers play, they'll play many holes, and it takes them forever if they actually do get the ball to the hole. And tell you what I mean. Next time you go play a round of golf, here's what I want you to do. I don't care if you play 3, 4, 5, 10 holes, 9 holes, 18 holes, whatever you play. Mark down how many times when you had a distance to the hole that you actually hit this shot pin high. In other words, let's say you had 130 yards of the hole, 140 yards, 150 yards. So you definitely had a club that could get there. And you hit that shot, did it get pin high? Okay? Because what I see is most golfers come 20, 30, 40 feet short of the green, or leaving the bunker short of the green, or whatever, because they have a false sense of how far they actually hit the ball, or they're not ready to hit that far yet in the round, okay? So here's what I want you to do. Next time you go play a round of golf, especially early in the round, let's say you have an 8-iron into the green. Take a 7-iron out, hit that 7-iron, and if you want, you can choke up maybe an inch, a little bit, just to ease up on the swing, ease up on the shot, because you know you can get that 7-iron and swing that 7-iron controlled. I would say easy, but just swing it controlled. Maybe even for some of you may take it choking down, make it run 2 clubs. So instead of going from a 9-iron, you go to a 7-iron. Maybe an 8-iron, you go to a 6 hybrid. But choke down on that club just a little bit, ease up on it, and see if you can get it to the hole, okay? And the reason I say that is because here's what happens. Especially those that don't warm up well for the round of golf. And come out here. Now, if you came out and you gave yourself 45-minute round warm-up session, you're hitting ball, and all of a sudden you're marking your distances on the range like the pros do, so you know how far you're hitting those shots in that day, that's a different story. But most golfers don't do that. We come out here, we have limited warm-up, we get out on the golf course, and now all of a sudden we have the shot in the green, we pull it there and say, okay, we should be able to get this there. And we hit it 20 feet, 30 feet, 40 feet short of the green. Take more club. Take more club until you start getting them to the hole. So let's say all of a sudden this first hole, I have a 9-iron to the green, take an 8-iron, maybe even take a 7-iron. If you want, choke down a little bit, just swing at it relatively easy, controlled, and see if it gets there. If it does or gets past the hole, say, okay, I'm ready to go for today, maybe I don't have to do that anymore. But I promise you, the reason I say this is golfers tend to have a false illusion of how far they hit shots, and with that false illusion, they tend to leave shots short all the time, 30 feet, 40 feet, short of the green or whatever it is. Take more club. And you saw this a lot. When you watch Mo do demos, you watch Mo play golf, Mo did this a lot. Mo would choke down the clubs a little bit, control that club, and that controlled, soft, easy, good swing was a much more accurate swing. So what I'm going to suggest is when you start that round, especially when you start the round or throughout the round, take more club until you finally get the one there. So let's say in the first hole you got 130 yards into the green. And normally you hit an 8-iron 130 yards. Take a 7-iron, choke down a little bit, swing at it smooth, see if you get it there. If you get it there, good, we're ready to go. If we don't, say, wow, I need to do it in the next hole and the next hole. Do that till you start getting some shots to the hole, and then you can start doing the yardage you're used to. Trust me on this, and I know this for a fact, that When you start smoothing that swing out, when you start saying, hey, I got a controlled swing, it tends to be more accurate and more consistent and much more, as you would say, fluid or a better shot for you, okay? Much more controlled shot. So take more club than normal, especially early in the round, until you start getting them to the hole, and then you can come back to your normal distances. I'm going to suggest this again and again because one of the most common errors I see is golfers that go out there and they kind of a false illusion of, oh, probably hit those shots, and they come up short way too much. Take more club. If you need to, choke down just a little bit to control that club. Stay within that shot. Control that shot. Promise you that'll help your scoring and dramatically lower your scores. We'll talk for a couple seconds here about kind of an addendum, or not, guys, that's going to be within wedge distance, okay? And I want to talk about this here for a few seconds. When you're within wedge distance to the green, so for some of you guys it's 50, 60, 70 yards, you know, or maybe inside 100 or whatever it is. When you got a wedge in your hand, okay, it could be a pitching wedge, a gap wedge, sand wedge, lob wedge. When you got a wedge in your hand, the key on a good wedge shot is I want to keep my feet down, I want to keep my knees flexed, and I basically want to stay within the shot as long as possible, okay? Because notice, when I hit this shot and I keep my feet down and my knees flexed, I'm basically staying square to the ball for a longer period of time, which will allow this face to square up and go towards that target for a longer period of time, okay? Because what happens is people get over wedge shots and they swing at them too hard. And what happens when you swing them too hard is they'll come up out of the shot, pull those shoulders open, will typically tend to thin them, pull them, fat them. They have issues with the wedges because they're just swinging them too hard. So when you get within wedge distance, I want you to start practicing this. I want you to work on how long can I keep my feet down? How long can I keep my knees flexed through the golf shot? Now, if you get over top of the shot and you try to keep your feet down and your knees flexed and you feel like, man, I can't get there, take more club. Okay, so if normally you hit a gap wedge, go to a pitching wedge. If normally you'd hit a sand wedge, go to a gap wedge. Take more club. But I want you to really effectively think about it, trying to stay within the shot, and I like to say control your wedges. Okay, so for example, I'll show what I mean by this. I have this shot right now, okay, and I could hit a hard sand wedge to get there, or I could hit a controlled gap wedge to get there. So if I got up over there, and what most golfers will do is they'll get over top of the sand wedge and they'll try to hit it, and they'll go, and they'll try to hit it hard to get it there, come up out of the shot, and I just pulled that 30, 40 feet left of the hole. When I made impact, I was trying to swing hard, came up off my trail side, shoulders ripped open, pulled the shot, okay? And in fact, some golfers will come up out of the shot so hard, they'll thin them, they'll skull them, they'll fat them, even shank them. Versus now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take the same shot, I'm gonna take a gap wedge, okay? And yeah, I feel like I can get a gap wedge there pretty easy. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to choke down just a little bit for some control, just a little bit. This makes me feel comfortable. It makes me say, okay, that'll take a little bit of distance off of this, but it makes me feel comfortable. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep my feet down, my knees flexed through the shot. I'm still going to swing at it good. I like to say I swing at it 80%, okay? I'm going to swing at it controlled. Now I'm going to sit up over the shot, get up over it, and I'm going to keep my feet down, my knees flexed, and hit the shot. Okay, that was a good golf shot. I'll do that again for you. Notice, as I'm doing this, and I'll even practice as I warm up. So I'll set up, and I'll even practice it as I warm up. Feet down, knees flexed, controlling the shot. Notice, if I keep my feet down, my knees flexed, I'm staying square longer through this shot than I am if I'm trying to overswing it and swing it at hard. So again, I'm going to sit up over it. I'm going to control this shot. I'm going to choke down just a little bit, keep my feet down, my knees flexed, control the golf shot. Okay, now, I know some of you will say, well, I'm not that flexible enough to keep my feet down through the entire shot, and that's fine, as long as you're trying to do it through impact. Because notice, if my feet are down, my knees are flexed through impact, my shoulders are square towards that target. My shoulders are square. If I come up, my leg straightens, my foot pulls out, where are my shoulders now? My shoulders are wide open. If my shoulders are wide open, it's pulling that club across my body. As that club is pulling across that body, it's putting side spin on it, it's pulling the shot. I'm having to make some type of correction to get that going back towards the target. And for most people, they don't make that correction. They just pull the shot, they fat the shot, they'll miss the shot. So when you get within wedge distance, this is the ultimate time. I want you as much as possible to keep those feet down, those knees flexed. Just square up that ball as long as possible to control that shot. Never, ever, ever, ever overswing a wedge. Just like we talked about in the last segment. We typically, most golfers won't get to the hole in their shots. We want to take extra club. We especially want to do this on the wedges. We want to control these wedges, okay? Never overswing a wedge. Work on keeping those feet down, keeping those knees flexed. Do that through this shot. That'll control this shot, make the shot much more accurate. And I promise you, more accuracy of those wedges will dramatically lower your scores. All right, we always get a lot of questions about bunker shots. And most of the time, they relate around either a steep wall in a bunker, like I got to get up fast, or a ball that's sitting down in the bunker. I'm going to go over both those scenarios real quick with you guys, okay? I'm going to give you guys a couple quick tips. Number one, this has got a very high wall in front of the bunker, okay? In fact, it's got a wall that's about head high, and I want to talk about this one more time. The key on a high wall bunker shot, you know, if we just have this angle of attack towards that golf ball, okay? And I really want you guys to focus on this, because when you set up, we got to hinge those hands very fast. We've got to hinge those hands quick, okay? Because what happens is most people, when they're working, and rightfully so, when they're working on the single plane swing, position 2, like we want you to. That's not a bunker shot to get over a high wall in front of you or something, a high lip in front of you. You're going to want to hinge up very fast and angle down, okay? And that's why you'll see, watch your favorite players on TV. You'll watch them up, hinge up and down, hinge up and down. That hinge up and down is what gives you the lift, okay? So I'm going to go over that real quick. So I'm going to hinge up, come down, and that should give me the lift to easily get over that high lip, okay, or the wall in front of you, okay? Now, we covered that before, so that was that I wanted just to refresh real quick again. Now let's talk about a new one. So a ball comes in and sets, and it kind of goes into a fried egg, okay? So right now it's sitting down. So it's sitting down in the bunker, you know, it flew in and stopped. Now, you can do the same thing here. You can, so if that ball's sitting up a little bit, sitting kind of above the sand, kind of sitting when you look down, it looks like it's kind of a fried egg around it. That's what we call it. You can do the exact same thing here. You can hinge up and go down at the ball, create a good, quick hinge, okay? We got to hit 1 to 2 inches behind it, and we got to be very cautious on that. If we hit too far behind it on this shot, or like any bunker shot, but in particular this shot, it's going to come out heavy, it's not going to come out. So when the ball's sitting up above the sand a little bit, kind of in a fried egg, you approach it the same way. We got to create great angle on it, we'll get the ball out, and we'll get some good lift on it. So I'm going to set up, I'm going to put good angle on this, get up over it, okay, and it'll come out just fine, okay? Now, so that's scenario 2. Okay, we got one that was sitting, just came in the bunker, was sitting up above the sand, one that was sitting in a fried egg. We do the same thing. We just got to be cautious and make sure we only hit 1 to 2 inches behind it. Now let's pretend we have one that comes in and buries in the sand. Okay, so it comes in and it sits and it is buried down in the sand. So this one, you see a little bit of the ball, you can see kind of the top of the golf ball. It's sitting down in the sand and it's not a fried egg. So there's no forgiveness around it, okay? This one's sitting down in the sand. This one is more of what we call the cock and pop, okay? So when you sit up over this shot, if you try to hit a normal bunker shot out of this, that sand's going to absorb all the shot. It's going to go into that wall. It's not going to come out very far. It's pretty much kill the shot. So what we're going to do on this shot that's sitting down in the sand is we're going to back it up in our stance a little bit. We're going to square up the face. We're going to cock up and pop down. We're going to cock and pop this. So we're going to hinge up and pop down. And we're going to do this with some force. The reason we're going to do this is we're not trying to cut across this shot. We're not trying to slide the club across it. We're trying to cock up and cop down and just pop this ball out. When this ball pops out, it's going to go on the green or get out of the bunker. It's going to have some overspin, okay? It's not going to go a long way. It's not going to go with a lot of control, but it will get you out of the sand if you do it right. So I'm going to set up over it. I'm going to cock and pop my way out of this. So I'm going to set up, cock and pop, and get out of it. That's basically all you can do. And notice, I cocked up, popped down, cocked up, popped down. That's all you could do. And that was the ball that was sitting way down in the sand, okay? Now notice, as I did that, I described the lie of the ball again, okay? And that's what you really got to look at. Just like we did from the rough, just like we did in the different shots out here, it's the way, you got to look at the way the ball's sitting in the sand to determine the shots you're going to hit. The ball sitting up on top of the sand is just a normal bunker shot. Create great angle, hit an inch or two behind it, and it'll get the ball out just fine. If the ball's sitting down in the sand, it's sitting way down, it's basically buried in the sand. So it's not a fried egg, it's just plugged in the sand. You know, it's a plug shot. For most of us, we've got to cock and pop that out. So we're going to set up and we're going to cock up, pop down, cock up, pop down. That cock and pop is going to basically pop the ball out of the sand. It'll get on the green, and to be honest with you, it's going to have a little bit of overspin. So it's a very hard shot to control to get it close, but it will get you out of the sand and hopefully will get you on the green. So again, remember, that's why I wanted to go over these different shots with you guys today, is many times the lie of the ball, or most of the time, the lie of the ball dictates the shot. You saw that when we were sitting in the rough. You saw that when we're sitting in, in the bunker. These lie of the ball dictates the shot. If you choose the appropriate shot according to the lie of the ball, I promise you, it's going to save you a lot of shots. It's going to save you a lot of heartache in this game, but it's going to save you a lot of shots because you're actually playing the shot the way it needs to be played. And that's the best way I can talk about that. You're playing the shot the way it needs to be played. We can't be heroes over these shots. You have a ball that plugs in here, there's no way to control, put backspin on that. There's just no way, okay? You have a ball that sits up on top of the sand, you can put a lot of backspin on that. You got a big lip in front of you, you got to create height. You got to have great angle to create height to get out of that bunker. So guys, play the ball the way it lies, play the shot that is given to you, okay? And if you do it right, I promise you, it's going to help your game and save you a bunch of shots. All right, we worked our way all the way up to the green. So I want to give you guys just a couple tips real quick on the green. One's a practice tip, and then one is a little bit about playing tip when you're on the golf course. First things first, this is for those guys who don't practice their putting a lot. What I mean by that is, you know, when I talk about practicing putting, that really you should be spending at least 25% of your practice practicing putting, if not more. Remember, and I'm going to say this till the day I die, guys, almost 50% of your game is scored on the green. So if you're not spending at least 25, 30, 35% of your time practicing your putting, you're not practicing your scoring. But let's say right now you get a little bit of practice time in putting, okay? Let's work on, the first thing we're gonna do is I want you to work on 5-footers and inside, okay? So you're on the putting green right now. You're gonna work on 5-footers inside. Work on 3-footers, 4-footers, 5-footers. Work on those short ones, okay? So we're gonna get up here and we're gonna walk up, and we're gonna sit here and we're gonna work on these short putts. And we're gonna work on them again and again. I mean, guys, because this is what I see. I see that continually. You guys walk up over these putts and we miss short putts, and it puts too much stress in our game. I want you to walk up over here, okay? And I want you to work on making 3, 4, 5-footers. I want you to work on the scoring zone putts. People don't work on those enough. And then work on longer putts, okay? Work on 30-footers, 40-footers, okay? Work on long putts, okay? Right now I'm sitting here 30, 35, 30 feet from this flag. Work on long putts, okay? So we're gonna work on some leg putts, some longer putts, okay? And we're gonna work on getting those close to the hole, these longer putts, okay? And I'm gonna tell you guys, and I'm bringing this up for a reason. Too many golfers I see when they practice, they work on 10, 15, 20 footers. That's all they work on. In fact, they'll have a putting green that has flags on the green. Maybe they're 15, 20 feet apart, and they just go flag to flag to flag. But they're not working on reality. When you go practice putting, I want you to work on longer putts on the green. Work on 30-footers, 40-footers, even longer ones. Reality ones like you have on the golf course, okay? And then work on those 4 or 5-footers. Those ones that are either those leg ones or the ones you chip up in there, but work on making those scoring putts, okay? That's number one. Number two is when you practice, okay, and I'm going to say this a lot, okay, and I'm going to talk about this. Don't forget about these shots. If I had this shot right here, right now, I am 1, 2 paces off the green, okay, short of this flag. So I'm setting up over the shot right now. Remember our rule, putt when you can, chip when you can't putt, pitch when you have to. We're absolutely 100% going to putt this. We're going to putt this. This is a putt all day long. The problem is golfers don't practice these. I watch them warm up for rounds of golf for practice, in practice sessions. They never practice these. You guys can practice these on your practice screens. Trust me, you can. So make sure that you're practicing these putts. So when you're just off the green, work on these putts. Practice these often, okay? I mean, even on this far off the green. Right now, I've got more rough to go through or more fringe to go through than green. I'm going to sit up, I'm going to practice these, okay? Practice these. Practice these often, okay? Because it's something that is forgotten about a lot when people play golf. Guys, touch is gained through practice. If you don't practice being off the green, when you get in the golf course, don't expect to do it well. Remember, we're going to putt when we can, chip when we can't putt, pitch when we have to. But when we have these shots around, I mean, even way off the green, and we're going to putt these, go practice them. I mean, guys, I'm on this hill here. I'm short of this green, the ball seat on this hill. Right now, I've got 25 to 30 feet into that green. I've got 10 feet of green. I need to be able to practice these to get good at those. Because I need to practice those to get good at them, okay? So practice those. Last tidbit or last thing I want to talk about, and I get this question a lot. Leaving the flag in, taking the flag out. And this question I get a lot. First things first, most flags now, when you look at golf courses, the flag isn't so thick in the bottom of the flag that if it hits with the ball, it would bounce off and not go in, okay? They've got it where that ball is going to go in if it hits the flag. So what I like to do is on longer putts, those putts you're trying to lag, the 20-footers, the 30-footers, the 40-footers, I'm going to leave the flag in the hole. And the reason I leave the flag in the hole is when I sit up over this putt and I'm hitting this putt, when I leave the flag in, I can tend to see that flag out of my peripheral vision and I don't lose focus on that area. When I pull the flag, I will lose the focus in that area. So if I leave that flag in, I've got that out of my peripheral vision. I can still see it out of my peripheral vision easier with the flag in the hole than when it's not in the hole, okay? So I like to leave the flag in. Now, when I get up closer to the hole, I get inside 10 feet, obviously 5, 6 feet, I'll tend to pull the flag. You don't have to, but I tend to pull the flag then. But I'll tell you guys right now, on longer putts, ones that are 30 feet, 40 feet, or those putts you're lagging, I would suggest leaving the flag in the hole. Number one, it gives you a little bit of a backstop, but number two, it tends to help you with that peripheral vision when you look at the hole and kind of see it a little bit better and kind of keep your line, keep your position, which helps you with that distance in that lag. So guys, on putting, I'm going to recommend this again and again. When you go to putting greens, work more on those 5-footers, those 4-footers, those putts, those ones you should be making. Make those and make them a lot. Make them again and again and again. We need to be making those putts. Guys, the bigger we make that, we call it that bullseye. The bigger we make that, the easier this game is. And work on the leg putts. I see too many golfers that come out here and just work on 15, 20 footers and that's it. Well, guys, a 15-foot putt really isn't a leg putt. You're still kind of trying to make that one, okay? Work on leg putts and work on those short ones. That'll help even those 15, 20 footers in between. I promise you it will. So, and then lastly on this is go by the PCP rule. Putt when you can, chip when you can, putt, pitch when you have to. Get off the green and practice those. I think that's probably the biggest mistake I see golfers make is that they know to do that, but they don't practice them. Practice those to get that touch and feel, and I promise you, getting touch and feel like that, I promise you will help your scoring and dramatically make this game a whole lot more fun. Well, welcome back to the range. I hope you guys enjoyed that on-course instruction or a different shot throughout the course. Remember, those are really like to the tee height in the first tee. That's going to give you maximum distance. You know, how to hit out of the rough. You know, the lie really dictates that shot when you're in the rough. You know, if it's sitting in the bottom of that rough, we've got to really kind of gouge it out with the wedge. If it's in the middle of that rough, we have an option of a hybrid or a fairway wood. If it's sitting on top of the rough, you got to be careful that fairway wood doesn't slide right underneath it. Okay, we talked about that. You know, we talked about make sure you give it enough distance. You know, guys, don't be that guy or don't be that lady. Don't be that person that for the first 7 holes of golf or the first 9 holes you play, it's short of the hole, short of the hole, short of the hole. Take more club. You know, we tend to be, even me, we tend to be non-realistic out there. Take more club, you know, relax over the shot, take more club. It instinctively will make you relax, you'll hit it better and try to get the ball to the hole, okay? And you saw we did the wedge work and the bunker work and even the on-green work. Guys, if you got any questions on any of those, please feel free to email me at timg@graysgolf.com and I'll be happy to answer more questions and maybe even give in future webinars. And then I want to reiterate one more time on the announcements. Guys, school announcements. We have schools September, October, November, even into early December. We have schools. It's a great time of year to get in schools. It's a relaxed time of year. We get beautiful weather. We have schools in Orlando, Phoenix, and Oklahoma City. We have 3-day schools, 5-day schools, and 2-day specialty schools in those facilities. If you guys, we have openings right now. I promise you they're going to fill up. Okay, I promise you they will. They always do every year. Get in now, get in at great rates. Okay, you can call us, you can email us, or you can look on our website and we can get in there, okay? It's Single Plane Schools. It's at singleplaneschools.com. You can go there. Or sorry, Single Plane Golf School. Sorry, singleplanegolfschools.com. Or you can always call us at 405-250-6960. Or you can always email us and we'll get you taken care of. And the last thing is clubs. And again, and I'm not making this up, we literally just found a couple hours ago that we have a double trade-in bonus for clubs. So if you're ever going to think about trading some clubs, you can get double bonus trade-in right now. And then think about that mini spinner. It's a really cool club. It's available. It's a hybrid fairway wood combo. It's the characteristics of a fairway wood with the stopping action of a hybrid. And when I tried it, I demoed it. That's what I saw, okay? Guys, we need to get it fit for you. We have introductory offers for it. Be the first to have it in hand. We can do that double bonus on that. Okay, guys, so again, if you need anything, don't hesitate to email us or call us, timg@graysgolf.com. Call us anytime. Guys, we're always here for you guys, okay? And again, I filmed this a little bit early, so if you look at the screen, we are announcing the winner of the wedge tonight. Congratulations on that winner. Guys, thank you for joining me tonight in the Plane Talk, and we'll talk to you guys real soon.